Chondro Corner where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind.
From the shadows we move, striking out bright. In every twist we find the light. Breeding the best, gotta have patience in this game. Chondro Corner where we make our name. Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner. Chondro Corner where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind. Every scale tells a tale, every clutch a dream. Working the grind, we reign supreme. In every corner, the potential's real. Chondro Corner, where we seal the deal. Chondro Corner, 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 Chondro Corner. Every scale tells a tale, every clutch a dream. Working the grind, we reign supreme. In every corner, the potential's real. Chondro Corner, where we seal the deal. Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind. Chondro Corner, where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind. Chondro Corner, where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind.
Chondro Corner, 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 Chondro Corner.
What it do? What it do? Welcome to Chondro Corner, episode 21, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, or whatnot. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for tuning in. It's your boy Ro here. Half of the Chondro Corner. You know what I'm saying? Me and Jen, we're gonna get on. I think we're gonna get on sometime soon together, so y'all understand, what's going on. But let's see who is in this Chizzy chat real quick. For sure. Got my PIC right there, Jen, Cigar City. What's going on? What's going on? I hope your event was good the other week down there in, I forgot, I think it was Orlando, Florida, the expo that you was vending in. We got the soldier support. What's going on, Bosa? How you doing? How you doing? Then you already know, got my boy T Kizzle on the green tizzle. What's going on? What's going on? How you doing, bro? Then you already know, got my boy Jordan, Heartland Reptiles, man. If you don't got no enclosures from Heartland, hey, something going on with you, bro. Something going on with you. What's going on? T Johnson, what's going on? How you doing? How you doing? Got my boy Will 217 Pythons. What's going on? How you doing, bro? Then got my boy MCBR. What's going on? How y'all doing? Tradesman Exotic, what's going on? Thank you for your support. Thank y'all for dropping by. Tonight we got another banger again. We got the man, the myth, the legend, Dave D in the building. What's going on, Chuck? Got my boy Chuck in the house. Hey, that episode that you just did with Mike, mint, bro, mint. It's good. It's good. Oh yeah, hey y'all. So nothing has been really going on over here. Oh, my Gary animal, GG House of Blue animal, is going through its OCC right now. So I have been posting pictures on my story of the OCC and all that stuff. It's changing day by day. I just keep feeding it. It just keep growing, man. I do have another GG animal that haven't started its OCC yet. It's a yellow neo. It's getting like a little brown on the head, like a little brownish green on the head, but nothing too major. I say like in the next about month and a half, that's when it will start. Like you will see a very good noticeable difference of it. Tonight's donation tonight's super chats will go out to my boy T Kizzle on the green tizzle. Will go out to the Keys family. So, if you're donating or got a super chat, something like that, I think we put the Cash App down in the below in the description. So that's the Cash App. So, or you could Zelle it or whatnot. So, all donations tonight going towards the Keys family. They're trying to get the Keys family rolling, man. Keisha got in a car accident not too long ago, like a few weeks ago. We're just trying to get them back on rolling, man. We got my boy Richard. What's going on, Richard? How you doing? How you doing? Morph Minded Ash, what's going on? How you doing? The Malice King. They got my boy Brian Heathen Hatchery. What's going on? How you doing, brother? How you doing? And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, without further ado, Dave D in the building. Dave D, what's going on? How you doing? How you doing, bro?
I'm doing well, bro. Appreciate you having me on.
What's been going on with you? What's been going on with you? How was your day, man?
It was good. Just worked all day.
Mm-hmm. What do you do for work?
My parents started a freight forwarding company 42 years ago, and my sister and I have kind of taken over the management of that.
Okay, so just like shipping big things over the
Yeah,
country.
yeah. We have a domestic company and an international company. Most of our customers ship domestically and into Canada. It's a lot of industrial equipment like pipes, valves, pumps, flanges, heavy machinery, because we work with mines and refineries and that sort of thing.
Okay. So like, what's the like day-to-day basis look like for you?
I'm in a lot of meetings, and
I know that's no fun.
yeah, I'm also an attorney, so I review a lot of customer and carrier agreements, the agreements we have with trucking companies and that sort of thing. I do quite a bit of risk management stuff.
Okay. Nice. So what time you get up in the morning? Around 8, 9?
I'm lucky enough to work from home now.
Oh, 8.
Yeah, it's nice. Saves the commute. Yeah, I wake up 6:30 or so generally.
That's cool. Okay. Oh, 6:30. Oh, well, that's about the same time I wake up though.
Yeah,
I
you
wake
said
up
8
like,
or 9, man. That's waking up at 9 would be crazy.
hey, on my weekdays, that's what I do. I
Yeah.
sleep in on my weekdays because most of the time I'm up like around 5:30, 5 o'clock.
Uh-huh.
So I can get to PT, physical training,
Yeah.
train these soldiers, man.
Is that what you do?
Well, so
Are
when
you
I
a drill
first came
sergeant or something like that?
huh?
Are you a drill sergeant?
Oh no, not yet. That's gonna be my last 3 years. That's when I'm put in my packet for drill sergeant. My last 3 years in the military.
Okay.
So then I know I'm not deploying. It's kind of like a smart move, but not smart move because I'm still going to be getting up early in the morning.
Hmm.
But I know I'm not going to be deploying though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, well, when I first came in, I was a cook, and then I reclassed to AC mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, reclass mean like I changed my job to
Sure.
AC mechanic, and then I changed my job again to admin, to HR, human resources. So
Okay.
I just handle people financial problems. They need their name change. They need duty station change. Awards.
Mhm.
Uh, Disciplinary problems, paperwork and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. People problems are the worst. I think that's why a lot of us like reptiles, because we don't like people.
Exactly. Yo, like, when I get home from work, I just walk in my room and I'm like, yeah, this is what I work for.
Hmm.
Just peace and quiet. And, I can just talk to my animals or do whatever with my animals, chill with them, and I don't
Yeah.
have to be bothered. So, yeah, man. But can you give us a quick bio for, anyone that doesn't know you in the chat?
Oh,
I'll
sure.
put,
My name is Dave. I started keeping reptiles when I was a little kid. I think I had my first snake. It was a corn snake when I was 5 or 6. And then I got a ball python a couple years later. So I had one or two, actually one of a lot of things until I was about 22, and then I sold everything. And then I got back into reptiles when I was about 27, and this was 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a pair of rough-scaled pythons, and doing research on how to take care of them, I found out more about green tree pythons, and I found the Morelia viridis forum. And in 2012, I got my first chondro, and I bought a lot of snakes over the next few years. And that's kind of where I got to where I am now. I never had a locality chondro. I have some that are crosses, but my collection is just designers, and they're all red. They were all red as neonates.
Sheesh. So on the forum pages, like how easy back in the day was it to find information and find people willing to sell chondros or neos? You know,
it was actually easier to buy them back then. The forum had a main page for discussion, and the group was pretty tight knit, but I thought everyone was pretty welcoming. And then there was a classified page, and there would be, I don't know, a handful of new posts every day. And yeah.
Okay. All right. So like, who did you first get your first chondro from? Like, was it sub-adult or neo?
That was a yearling. I got it from a guy named Greg Stevens.
Okay. He
was out in Maryland. He had a lot of designers. He had a really cool setup where he had these acrylic cages made, and he had them in little condos of 3. So there were 3 cages side by side, but they were a lot taller than they were wide. I think they were about 30 inches tall, 16 inches wide, and 20 inches deep, something like that. And then he had a bunch of perches, only 5 or 6 perches going up. And then he had misting system. He had a Mist King nozzle in each one. Yeah. And he would spray the shit out of them twice a day. And at the bottom of the fronts of the cages, he had perforated the plastic with, or I guess whoever fabricated them, put a bunch of holes in the front. And then under the lip, he had gutters. And so he would just spray the shit out of them, and then the water would go in the gutters. And so it was pretty unique. I've never seen anyone else who did that, but
that's cool though.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. He brought in a virus or something somehow. It took him out of the hobby a few years after that.
Sheesh.
Yeah,
we hate to see that.
Yep.
So take us to like your second chondro. What was that?
Pretty sure my second chondro was a blue line. It also had some sarong in it. It was from a guy named Rich Culver in Alaska. It ended up being male. Rich is still around. He was on Travis and Kino's podcast a few months ago. Okay. And then I don't remember what chondros. I don't remember which chondros I got exactly after that, but I got a handful from Marshall. I got a bunch from Rico. Christian Stewart. I got a bunch from Christian.
So you just mixed the best of the best that you knew in with your collection, and that's how you made your collection as it is today?
Yep. And I bought a mixture of changed yearlings and unchanged babies. And if you can, buying yearlings is the way to go, obviously, because a lot of those unchanged babies won't turn out the way you expect.
Gotcha.
But it's definitely harder to get chondros now. There are a lot of people.
Literally, tell me about it. I would just talk about it earlier today. It's like everybody want to hold back, you know, their stuff. Of course, because you want to get the best of the best. You want to get it for yourself, which is understandable. You produced it, so why not? And then everybody's kind of small on the female side, of course.
Yeah.
So hey, why not? And then by 1 to 2 years, you should know what sex the chondro is, what a yearling is. So
yeah, people are a lot less willing to probe now than they used to be. and I'm part of that community too that doesn't want to probe. It kind of sucks, and it's hard if you don't have someone to help you.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're a little harder to probe than some other snakes. I just don't want to.
Did you probe back in the day when you started hatching your
Yeah,
first?
yeah. The first few years, I sold everything sexed.
Okay.
I had a couple that I got wrong, so that's another thing that I didn't want to deal with. And those people were cool. I didn't have any problems. They didn't even tell me till later down the road, but I just don't want to piss someone off.
Gotcha. Okay, so like where did you go with like your ideal pairing? Like how did you come up with the ideas for your pairing? Like what did you want to make first?
My first clutch was a couple of blue adults,
Mm-hmm.
and I just wanted to make more blue snakes. There are a lot more blue snakes now than there were back then.
Yeah.
I just paired blue with blue and
Hope for the best.
best. Yeah.
Right.
And then the next year, I think I did a couple high yellows. So I'm mixing things up a little bit more now.
Mm-hmm.
But I just try to pair like animals together. But I pay attention to how related things are. I have a lot of blue snakes, and most of them, I think all of them are from Trooper Walsh's stock. But they've been outcrossed with different things.
Gotcha. And do you do any like sip to sip pairings? This day? Because I'm pretty sure back in the day you probably did some.
No, I've never done a sib to sib. I've done a uncle to niece.
Mm-hmm.
And then this year, I just about a week ago hatched a clutch from a male to his daughter, and I hatched his daughter was from my first clutch in 2010. So it's kind of cool. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Well, that's dope. That's dope, man. So speaking of parents, I'm gonna bring up this little slideshow real quick so we can, touch on that real quick. Can you bring us to this pairing? I think
that's actually the uncle to the niece pairing.
Okay.
So the male is the darker blue one.
Mm-hmm.
And he's from Sky and Topaz. Sky was a male from Mr. Blue, bred to a female named Carolina. And so Trooper Walsh was involved in that pair. I believe he owned Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of really nice snakes in that clutch. I actually ended up with 4 of them at one point. And then the female in this picture.
How many eggs? Do you remember how many eggs did she lay?
I think 16. I didn't have the best hatch result. I think I ended up with 9 or 10.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the female is one that I produced in 2016 from a blue line male from Rico, bred to another snake from Sky and Topaz, a female that I had.
Gotcha. Nice. Okay.
And I'd say 60% of them turn blue, something like that. Extremely blue. And then I think some of them had some nice blue wash and things like that. They'll probably get better over time.
Yeah. Okay. And do you have like some of the chondros from this pairing to this day?
Yeah, I think I kept 5 or 6 of them. Nice. I kept a shitload of snakes from 2022.
Nice. So the next pairing is the
that the yellow one is a tiger stripe line from Rico, and her father was also extremely yellow. I refer to her as tiger stripe, but part of the reason why she's so awesome is her dad, and her dad came from Greg Maxwell. I think he was from the Socrates Pastella clutch.
Okay.
So, and she was actually orange for several years. People talked about Rico having a chondro that stayed red. And they were talking about this snake. She just took a long time to change colors. She's let's see here. She's 15 years old now.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
And still breeding?
Yep. Yeah. She's growing follicles right now.
Damn. So, what clutch is this for her though? What would it be?
I think this will be her 5th clutch.
Damn, still kicking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Some of her clutches were small. I think the first clutch I got 7 eggs. Actually, I don't remember how many she laid, but I think that I hatched 7 the first time. She had a 4-egg clutch, but the last few I've been doing better. I think the last 2 clutches she's laid 14 eggs,
Mm-hmm.
and I hatched all 14 2 clutches ago, and then her last clutch I think I hatched 10.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like her to lay another
Do
14.
you get your females like well your breeding females like what 2 years off every time they lay a clutch?
Not necessarily, because I think she might have laid 2. Yeah, she laid 2 years in a row. She laid in 22 and 23, but she took last year off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That last female that you posted, she laid 3 years in a row for me.
Mm-hmm.
But
Which is that one right there.
yeah, this was
Yeah.
trying to think here. Yeah,
Nice.
this was the first of 3 years. And then this next clutch, all the eggs look good. They just crashed for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And then last
Do
year,
you think it was an incubator issue or
no, I don't know what it was. I would guess something with the development of the eggs while she was gravid.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
My incubator's pretty dialed in, so I don't tend to think that that's the problem.
Mm-hmm. All right, then we have this chondro, man. This thing right here, this caught my eye. I was like, sheesh. So can you tell us the pedigree behind this one?
Yeah, sure. I don't have her anymore, unfortunately.
Oh man.
But yeah, she was probably my favorite chondro, at least that I purchased. She came from Christian Stewart.
Oh man.
Yeah, and she's from Crazy, which was a blue line, and then Snowflake was a blue line outcrossed with was a Cyperly tricolor or something. Well, what's kind of interesting about her, and Christian has a female, her sister is named Blondie,
Mm-hmm.
and they were both the last picks from the Crazy Snowflake clutch, and they ended up being gnarly looking.
Yeah. Oh no, that's why like a lot of times when I pick my chondros, from other people, what neos from other people clutches, and I'll be like, oh no, y'all think, what I'm saying? I'll be like, well, I always go for the underdog most
Yeah,
of the time because sometimes it's a win-win. Like, look at this a win-win,
yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of times.
It depends on the clutch. I think
Mhm.
blue line clutches, you're not going to be 100%, of course, but I could probably, with 80% certainty, if I had a couple shots, pick out the best feel. But with the calico stuff and some of the high yellow stuff, I think it's more of a crapshoot.
Gotcha. All right, we're gonna move on to the next chondro that we got. This thing is sheesh. I don't
Yeah,
know. That's what I like. This what I like right here.
yeah, that's the one that I hatched in my first clutch that I recently bred to her father.
Sheesh.
She was the nicest snake in her clutch.
Mm. And did you keep like that whole clutch back, or the one that she came from?
Yeah, I always hold all the babies back, 100% of them, until they've changed at least enough for me to have a good guess at what they're going to look like. But obviously you can't keep them forever, so I don't know.
Right.
People talk about holdbacks, but I don't know if that means you're keeping them forever. I just don't sell them until they've changed.
Right.
I keep at least one from every clutch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've been doing this for over a decade now. Almost 15, 13 years?
This was my 11th year in a row hatching chondros.
Okay, in a row. But you kept snakes all your life, honestly. Well, reptiles.
Yeah, a lot of it.
Okay. And then we're gonna go to this one of your favorites, your calico feet. What, male? or female?
That's a female.
Sheesh.
Yeah, that one's a big mixture of blue line and calico, and there's some dream in there.
What is dream?
Dream, I believe there was this guy before my involvement in chondros named Jeff Hudson.
Mm-hmm.
And I might be fucking up the story, but he found a chondro in a pet shop, and it was blue and weird looking. So they named it Dream, and then I think he did a joint pairing with Greg Maxwell,
Mm-hmm.
because then they made Lemon Dreams, and then those got incorporated in Calico. So
Gotcha.
that's how you get the Calico Daydream stuff. I think, yeah, Daydream was Dream bred to Lemon Tree.
Yeah.
Bred it to Calico Jr.
Nice.
And then you probably heard of Rob Worrell.
Yes.
He's
yes.
a long time dude. He produced a really melanistic snake named Shade.
Mm-hmm.
And so this snake also has some shade in her lineage.
Sheesh. And like, how did it look coming out the egg?
Yeah, this one was a standout. She had the least pattern. She wasn't the darkest, but she had the least pattern. She has little tiny diamonds. You can barely even see them. There are little yellow spots on her
Mm-hmm.
on her spine.
Okay. And when you we'll ask that question later. Okay, so bring us into preparing for pairing season. Like do you what is it called? Sheesh. Blank mind.
You're
Do
good.
you
I bust out a spreadsheet, and I put the males I want to pair in column A, and the females, and actually I probably put the females in the first column, and then the second column I put males, and then I figure out which ones I want to pair together,
mm-hmm.
and don't put a male more than probably 2 females.
Yeah.
I pick 6 or 8 pairs that I want to try, and then you get some that don't breed at all, some that will breed for a while but nothing happens, and then the rest you either get eggs or slugs. So that's kind of how that works out.
Mm-hmm. And do you cycle at all?
Yeah, I temperature cycle, and I've been messing with food cycling, but I'm trying to figure out what the right way to do that is.
Okay. So like what's the temperatures? Like, do you run ambient or do you run with a some kind of heat source?
I have heat panels in my cages, but I have been switching over to ambient, especially this last year. I'm worried about fire, and they seem to do better with ambient. It dries out their cage less if you don't have a heat panel running.
Yeah.
So this year I let them get to about 85 during the summer, during the day, and 80 or so at night. And then at the end of summer, I start feeding them a little bit more heavily, so they hopefully trigger the females into building follicles. And then I lower their daytime temp by a couple degrees to 83. And then I drop their nighttime temp down to 73-ish.
Mm-hmm. So are you looking for like any clues or anything like when you're cycling them?
Yeah, I look for the females to be feeding more aggressively. Sometimes that's hard to tell because they're always so willing to eat. I don't know. I guess I pair them up and see if the females are willing to breed. That's a good start. Sometimes one or both of them are freaked out, so you're probably not going to get a whole lot if that's the case.
Uh-huh. Gotcha.
If you have heat panels in there, you can look for them to see if they're cooling themselves. Because females that are growing follicles generally like to cool themselves, but it's a little bit tricky with ambient because
mm-hmm.
the whole cage is the same temperature.
Yeah. What made you go ambient? Just curious.
Just the fire risk, and then installing a shitload of heat panels is a pain in the ass, and then you
Yeah.
got to set up the probes, and
Mhm.
so now if I have a snake die or whatever, I just need to disinfect the cage. I don't need to buy a new heat panel and install it and all that bullshit. It's just easier.
I definitely understand that. Yeah, I'm in Louisiana, and that's what I do. I run ambient. I believe Lucas run ambient as well.
Yeah.
And to me, they digest a little faster. They plump up a little bit better as well. Um, that's about it. And then you don't, like you said, you don't have to deal with the heat panels and all that good little stuff. But I do run the thermostat though, just to keep an eye on how the cages is, the temperatures of the enclosures.
Yeah. And I'm talking about not having heat panels, but all my cages right now do have heat panels, and I do turn them on for gravid females. But I think I'm moving here in a few months, and I have all new cages, and I
Mhm.
might experiment with not giving the females panels at all. I might move them to a closet or something when they're gravid, and keep the closet a little warmer, like 85 or 86. But it'd be nice to figure out how to not use heat panels at all.
Yeah. A lot of things. Well, what worked well for me is I put a little heater fan in the room, like a
Mhm.
little space heater,
Mhm.
in the reptile room. If it get a little chilly that night, I
Yeah.
just put a little space heater in the room, and it stay that little, that 89, 79.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I use the oil filled heater, and I've been using Inkbird thermostats from
yeah.
Amazon, but I've noticed that they're getting burn marks next to the tines where they plug into my
Hmm.
extension cord. So that seems kind of sketchy.
Yeah.
So
How long you had your? Well, I had mine for about maybe a year and a half, 2 years now. My Inkbird thermostats. I haven't really noticed anything crazy about them.
I think the problem is in one of my rooms, I have to keep the heater on high, so it's running at 1500 watts. If I could keep it on low or medium, I don't think I would have that problem.
Hmm. And then also like where you have them at as well, so they're not directly by the heat source.
Yeah.
So and I'm pretty sure the Inkbird cord's pretty long, so you can hang them up on the wall pretty far away from the enclosures.
For the probe.
Oh no, no, not the probe. No, I'm talking about just the digital monitor, like the digital monitor itself,
Gotcha.
the panel. Yeah.
Yeah, mine's white and it looks like an egg.
Hmm.
So I just have an extension cord plugged into an outlet, and then my room is fairly square, so I just have the heater in the middle of the room, and then there's a ceiling fan above it, and then the probe is zip tied to one of the shelves that my cages sit on.
Hmm. Yeah. So let's see. When pairing, how long do you leave the male inside the enclosure?
If they're breeding, probably at least 2 weeks before I separate them. A week or two if they're breeding. If nothing's going on, I'll only leave them in there a night or two.
Okay, okay.
I have males that'll ground themselves, so there's no reason to keep them together. You're just stressing them both out.
Hmm. And what's your female to male ratio, if you know it right now?
Mm, it's probably close to 2 to 1, two
Okay.
females per male.
Hmm.
But I have a lot of both. I, I'm
How many chondros do you have in total?
with babies and whatnot,
Yeah.
over 100, 130, 120.
Sheesh.
Mm-hmm.
I know feeding day is a woozy.
Yeah, there's no feeding day. I just chip away at it. You,
Okay. Take a mental note of who you feed, or write it down, of course, who you feed.
yeah, I use Husbandry Pro.
Shout out to Husbandry Pro.
Yeah, you ever seen that?
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet. I used Reptile Scan before that, but what I like about Husbandry Pro is I can't remember if it's called batch feeding or something. Let's see what it's called.
Mhm.
It's called Quick Activities. So you have all your snakes listed there, and you just check all the ones that you fed, and then you hit submit, and then you check the size rodent that you fed on the next page. So it's pretty easy to keep records that way. A lot of people bitch about how tedious it is, but it's pretty easy.
Okay. Okay. All right. So bring us to laying day. How do you prepare your females to lay?
I'll put a nest box in there about 10 days post shed,
Mm-hmm.
post prelay shed. And I've been using these wooden boxes from Amazon. They're unfinished, so if you wanted to buy a box and stain it and paint it and bedazzle it or whatever, I think that's what they sell them for. I buy them, and then I put a hole in the top with a hole saw.
Yeah.
And you want to make sure the hole is big enough that if the snake doubles back on itself, it won't get stuck, because apparently people have had snakes kill themselves by using holes that are too small.
Yeah.
And I either put folded paper towel in the bottom of them, or I saw Patrick used some, I think there were live oak leaves,
Mm-hmm.
or little waxy leaves for bioactive enclosures. So I've tried that a couple times just so it smells more earthy than a paper towel.
Then. Mm-hmm.
And I'd say probably even less than half the time they'll go in there. So then if they're cruising around, I worry about them screwing up the eggs falling and whatnot in their cage. So then I'll stuff them in the box, and I'll put a glass baking dish over the hole. And what I did this year is I put the glass baking dish over the hole, so then I can point a camera straight down.
Gotcha.
And I can watch them lay eggs, which is pretty cool. And
so they're trapped in that box until the glass bowl is moved.
Yeah. I take them out every 3 or 4 days, and I'll soak them in a tub for 15 or so minutes, just so they have an opportunity to stay hydrated, because I don't want them to get egg bound.
Okay.
And then the nest box is under their heat panel, and I'll put a little what's it called? A little temperature sensor, a sensor push in there, so I know what temperature it is. And then after they lay, I'll soak the female, wash the egg smell off them. I've been incubating in vermiculite, mixed 1-to-1 by weight.
What kind of egg box do you use?
I have some of the large sim tubs, and then I also have some 15-quart Sterilite tubs that you just get from Walmart or whatever. So I kind of like those because they're a little wider. The sim tubs are kind of tall and narrow.
Nice. So you use the little oak, well, for the lay box or the nest box, you use the pine oak little box, drill a hole in it, stain it and or whatnot, and that's about it. Put a little paper towel and some leaves at the bottom, make it kind of homey. Right. And then for egg boxes, you use sim containers with vermiculite.
Yeah, vermiculite. Sometimes I like the little grids that they sell with sim boxes, because they're a good way to keep eggs from rolling. So sometimes they'll set those on top of their vermiculite.
Some was it like diffusers?
No, it's the grids that sim sells.
Okay.
They have the grids, and then they have the little bars that lock into place to keep the eggs from rolling.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice. So bring us to the cutting day. Well, how easy, like how fast do you offer the female a meal after she lays?
It depends on what the female's doing. I have one that laid a week or so ago, and I can tell she's still not back to her old self. She's perched really kind of tightly, but kind of long.
Mhm.
top of the perch. She's not hanging down. She's just like tensed up on sitting on top of the perch. So I can tell she's not going to eat.
So, so when you do that, like, what do you do during that time? Like, do you go and put it back in the water, let it soak, or
No, I'll probably give her another week, and then I'll just see if she wants to eat.
okay? Then they tend to go on food.
Yeah, it seems like it. I haven't had any that went on prolonged hunger strikes. I have had a couple females regurge the first time I fed them. So now I make sure what I feed them is really small,
Gotcha.
like an adult mouse instead of a small rat or something like that.
Yeah. And the chat say, what about maternal incubation? Have you ever tried maternal?
No, I haven't.
Will you ever try maternal?
Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like it's unnecessary stress on the snake, because that's another almost 2 months when they're not eating.
Mm-hmm.
If you have eggs in there that went to shit, they have a potential to ruin the other eggs. I know that doesn't always happen, but it's a potential. I also think that there's less risk for things like nidovirus being transmitted to the babies if you pull the eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can breed nido-positive snakes and produce clean babies, but I don't think that's the case if you have let the mother maternally incubate. The babies are going to hatch out, and she's going to be breathing all over them. So,
yeah, I think that's another thing that we don't talk about, as if the mother or the father is nido positive, they don't pass that on to the offspring.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that when I first got in. I thought it just run in the blood.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we're fortunate that that's the case. I think the community has done a good job of weeding it out. It's certainly not 100% gone, but yeah. Bill mentioned this on a podcast, and I've had this thought too, that you used to see so many posts where people are talking about their snake being wheezy or having an RI.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty few and far between now. I think a lot of it is because we got rid of nido.
Gotcha.
Or a lot of the
so if you had a snake that have nido and she just laid, would you what would you do with that snake after it laid? Well, put it back in its regular enclosure.
Yeah, I have some nido positive snakes, and I keep them in a separate room.
Okay.
And if you went in there, you wouldn't be able to tell that they were nido positive because they're not sick. Eventually, they kind of they just start coiling loosely, and they'll start tail hanging, and they just kind of break down over a week or two. But most of them haven't had RIs. And I was talking to a vet from the University of Florida at the last Daytona. And he's one of the University of Florida is kind of the leading facility that studies nidovirus. They have a test that will identify the strain, which the other tests don't do that. But anyway, I was telling him the symptoms I was seeing, and he was surprised because in his mind it just causes respiratory disease, but it seems like it causes other issues. But to answer your question, if I had a female that laid that was positive, I would just put her back in her cage.
Yeah. Okay. So do you keep the adults separate from the neos and the yearlings?
Yeah.
In your space, right? Okay.
Yeah, I actually have 3 rooms. I have my handful of nido snakes upstairs, and then it's a 2-story house with a basement, so they're pretty far apart. Those are upstairs, and then in my basement I have a kind of a main collection room with all my holdbacks, and then I have there's supposed to be a wine room, but that's where I keep all my babies and yearlings.
Okay. That bring us to but I guess what hatching day. Do you cut, or just wait till the first one to pip, a few pip, and then you cut?
Generally wait for one or 2 or 3 to pip, and then I'll cut. I have had clutches where I let them all pip on their own, but
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's hard to resist. I had a clutch a week or so ago, and I incubated it a little bit cooler.
Yeah.
So I got to day 52, and it was kind of playing games with my head. I was thinking, oh man, are these things all gonna die? And as soon as one pipped, I pipped the rest, and they pipped on day 54, which I don't know. Those extra few days make it hard to wait. So I might
Yeah.
bump
I definitely understand that.
yeah.
Yeah. What kind of incubator do you use? And what's the temps?
My main incubators, I have two of them, but I've only ever used one. They're Forma scientific incubators. I think they're generally used for growing bacterial cultures in labs. So they're water jacketed, meaning that the whole box is hollow and it's filled with water. I think it holds 11 gallons of water, and the purpose of that is for thermal stability. And then the door of the incubator is there's a big, thick insulated door, and then you open that up, and there's a glass door, and the glass door is heated, so it's super stable inside of it.
Mm-hmm.
They're super expensive if you buy them brand new, but you can get them on eBay and use scientific equipment websites for a lot less. They weigh a lot though. They're like 300 pounds before you put 11 gallons of water in them. So
Sound like you got like some state of the art type stuff, man.
Yeah, that's what Eugene Bissett used to use back in the day, Formas.
Mm-hmm.
And Christian Stewart had a couple of Formas too, but he moved and he couldn't get them to fit through his door. So, and then I have a hot box that I've used a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm generally incubating around 87 degrees.
87. Okay, straight bake.
Yeah, if I only have one clutch in there, I might take a half of a degree off or something at the end.
Okay.
And I used to incubate at 87.5. And I don't know if it made a big difference other than it adds a couple days to the hatch date. I believe Rico used to incubate at 88 straight bake.
Mm-hmm.
But we've all kind of backed off on that.
Yeah. Do you, speaking of temperature, do you think like we keep these animals, I guess, too hot? You know what I'm saying? Or what?
I think people used to.
Well, yeah.
But now, yeah, a lot of people keep it pretty cool now.
Yeah, like between about 85, 86 and about 77, I think.
Yeah,
that's the general. Yeah.
Yeah, 85, 86. Yeah.
Yeah. So take us to establishing neos.
I generally wait for them to have their first shed.
Mm-hmm.
And I like getting the red hot pinkies. I don't know if they're called red hots, from Lane Labs. I get most of my roans from Lane Labs.
Mm-hmm.
They have the super tiny pinkies.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of depends on how big the hatchlings are. Some chondros are like 8 or 9 grams and some are 14. So depends on the size of the hatchlings. And then generally use chick down to start them out.
Okay.
And if they don't eat, I'll assist feed them. I've generally used mouse tails for that, or pinky heads. But I'll probably try more of the Bill's gizzard trick in the future.
I'm telling you, that's what the thing is. Well, now what I use, so I had one of my GG animals go off a feed for about 3 weeks, and like it just only eat gizzards.
Yeah.
Or whatnot. And I fed it a rodent after the gizzard and then it just wouldn't take a rodent again. So that's why I put the hopper mice into the chicken gizzard, like liquid or whatnot, the juices, and then it take it like that. So you just use the scent of the chicken gizzard on the rodent, and they just take it like that.
Yeah.
Because like that's the only way it's going to get bigger unless you keep feeding it chicken gizzards every 3-4 days.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally. So it's getting it over that hump, getting it over that hump with the chicken gizzard little fluid. Those
Yeah.
cost about $2 at the store. So you know, get you get your little rodent, heat it up, and then you put the rodent in chicken gizzard juice or whatnot, and that's it.
Yeah. I tried it last year, and I didn't realize if you're assist feeding, you want to cook. You basically want to heat up that gizzard so it gets
Oh
firm.
yeah.
So I was trying to shove the raw gizzard down their throat, which is pretty difficult because it's so mushy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so don't do
And then you
that.
gotta do it in strips too, like little bacon strips, like little strips. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But probably about a decade ago, I got some snakes from Rico, and I had a female that wouldn't eat. And for some reason, I thought I'm going to try giving it some chicken breast. So I cut a piece of chicken breast that was about the size of a mouse and shaped like a mouse.
Uh-huh.
And she ate it. And after that, she'd eat mice. And then I sold her brother to a guy a year or two later, and he went off feed after shipping. And I told him, I said, maybe try some chicken breast. And he did, and that snake ate, and then it started eating mice again. So they do like
Diversity.
Yeah, they like the smell of birds.
Yeah. I think diversity is a need for them to grow too, So
Yeah, do
have
you
you
feed yours?
tried crested geckos or anything like that?
No, I haven't tried that.
Quail?
I have a bunch of quail, but I don't feed them to my chondros. I think I've only fed a quail to a chondro once. Do you feed quail?
No.
No.
Just chicken gizzards. Now that I know my little trick, that's what I just do now. I don't feed strictly chicken gizzards no more. I get the pinky or the hopper or whatever and dip it in, heat it up, dip it in the chicken gizzard juice and give it to them.
Okay.
And they take it just like that because I think they need that, that bone structure, that fur, in their digestive system in order to get big as well.
Yeah, I think a gizzard is not a complete meal, but
Yeah, so they're not just shitting out, squirting out milky white substance all over the tub.
I think what you're doing is good, mixing it up, because in some ways a gizzard is better, and in some ways a pinky is better. Once you get them on fuzzy, that's probably the way to go. So are all your snakes really young then? Do you have any adults?
I have one adult, 3.5 years old from Bill.
Okay.
Yeah. So just growing up all my little neos. That's what I want to do. Just grow them up from neos and then go ahead and start my breeding projects. I want to mix the calico. Well, I want to make Garrett animals a little bit more blue, and put the blue into the calico.
Okay.
So that's my plan.
So you have calicos from Mark, or what calico?
Yeah, calicos from Mark.
Okay.
And then so I have a pure sarong from Trav. Calico from Mark. I got Bill animal that's got some sickness lineage in it. Pure sarong from Trav again. 2 GG animals. Wamina and Biot cross. I have a designer from Mike. It's like artifact sarong with a sarong to it, is with a cyclops. So it's like
everything thrown together.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about it.
Okay.
I'm picking up a female from Dimitri, Articondros. So that's a nice designer, female that I'm picking up from him.
Yeah, he's got some cool snakes.
Yeah. With Dimitri animal, I could tell a Dimitri animal because it had like that frosty blue look to it. To his animals. If you look closely to what he produced, I see it's a lot of frost. It looked like a kind of frost glaze chondro. So I want to get something from Pat, of course. Um, you, of course, if if you let something go. But like I already know people, like you said, people just holding stuff because I see, it's hard to produce.
Yeah.
They're hard. So why would I give you something that I spent, 4 or 5 years on making?
Yeah. You certainly don't want to sell your best shit
Yeah,
unchanged.
exactly. So if people don't understand that, people like, oh, he a hoarder, like, man, F that dude. No, bro, because you'll be doing the same thing if it was you and you spent 4 or 5 years of your life, dedication, hard work, and getting the neos established too. Because that's, to me, it looked like that's the hardest part, getting your neos established.
Yeah, it's not that bad. It depends on the clutch.
Hmm.
Breeding them is challenging the whole way through, but none of it is horrible.
Hmm. Well, you've been doing this, Dave. Dave, you've been doing this for a while. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Of
but I
course, of
remember
course,
I
right now
remember
you're
my
gonna
first one.
say, yeah. So I know, like your first 2 3 years, you was like, man, what the hell? Or did you
Nah,
have mentors?
mm, no one in particular.
Okay.
I just picked up things here and there, but there
Mhm.
was no one who I'd hit up and say, "Hey, what should I do here?"
Mhm. So like it was kind of hard. Like, was everybody for themselves back in those days, or
No,
what?
not really. No, not really. I just didn't reach out and ask for help.
Got you.
I did. My first clutch was actually rough scaled pythons, and I did hit Rico up and asked him if my eggs looked dry. They looked a little dry. If you use the overwater method, you better make sure that your main chamber is super humid or have a pretty tightly sealed egg box. Otherwise, if you have a dry incubator, it's just going to pull all that moisture out of the vent holes in your box.
Yeah. And then
People,
if you have holes in your egg box as well, because
yeah,
some people have holes in their egg box. Do you have?
yeah. I put one on each side,
Hmm.
and I have tape over two of them for most of the incubation. But my incubator is super humid. It's probably 100%, so it doesn't really matter. I could probably incubate without having a lid on my egg box if I wanted to.
Sheesh. That dialed in. That's what I'm talking about. So, husbandry for, well, all your reptiles, but not reptiles, all your chondros, adults, subadults, neos. Or do you keep them in substrate? What's going
For babies, I keep them in, I think they're 5-quart tubs.
on? Hmm.
Um, and I use paper towel, sopping wet paper towel. I had perches made by a plastic fabricating company near me. So they and I got the idea from Steve Volk, who's a breeder of Amazon basins. He lives
Hmm.
about an hour from me. And I use the plastic company that he used, but they'll take sheets of HDPE, which is the plastic that is used for milk jugs and cutting boards and stuff. It's super safe. It's really slick and easy to clean. But
Yeah.
they'll use I forget what the term is, but a table with a router. And, they use a computer program, and they'll cut one piece perches, but mine are kind of shaped like H's
Hmm.
with an extra bar going across.
Do you have a free one that you could show us, or
I
laying
don't
around?
here. I'm in my office
Okay.
right now.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So in my baby tubs, they're like little ladders, and
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
they
I seen what it. Yeah.
yeah, they lean from one side to the
Yeah.
other.
Diagonally.
Yeah, and I like them because they're one piece, and that HDPE is pretty sturdy, so you can put them in the dishwasher on a sanitized cycle and clean them. And then so I have bigger versions of those for Cambro tubs for my yearlings, and then I bought a bunch of new cages that I'm not using yet, but they're 32 inches long, 20 inches deep, and 20 inches high.
Mhm.
And I picked those dimensions because I use a lot of they're not puppy pads, they're incontinence pads that are used in hospitals. Basically the same thing, but without the scent for attracting dogs to piss on them. But those pads are 36 inches long and 24 inches wide.
Mhm.
So my cages are 4 inches smaller on each dimension, which means there's going to be a 2-inch lip around the perimeter. So the idea is to contain their pee and make it easy to clean. Because
Oh,
right now it's kind of a pain in the ass when you use those pads and the snakes get piss under them, because
yeah,
just a lot more paper towels and disinfectant and stuff.
yeah, yeah. What you use for disinfectant spray?
I
Or
use
wipes?
I use stuff called hypochlorous acid.
Mm-hmm.
They sell on Amazon, and it's supposed to be super safe. I think it's used in the food industry. I don't remember the brand that I use, but if you just search for that, you'll find some of it. And then I also use some product called Rescue that is a veterinary disinfectant, and it's peroxide based. So it's also supposed to be super safe. I think it breaks down into water. And the thing that's nice about both of those is they'll kill viruses and bacteria, and they do it with a relatively short contact time. A lot of people don't read the back of F10 bottles, but I think you're supposed to make sure whatever you're disinfecting is really saturated, and then let it sit for, I can't remember if it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but it's a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
This other stuff that I use only takes 30 seconds or a minute, so it's more potent in that way. And then a lot of people use chlorhexidine, and I don't even think that's a viricide, so I don't know how effective that is at killing viruses.
Mm-hmm.
Or the blue stuff that people use.
Yeah, I just use Lysol wipes, honestly, and
Yeah.
I don't have, like I said, I only have maybe about 7 chondros, so
Mm-hmm.
it is nothing to me. You know, I
Yeah,
can't.
I think that stuff kills viruses and everything. And it says
Yeah,
on the bottle it kills
yeah,
staph and
Lysol
coli.
wipe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I get some little wipes from work, some some good wipes from the military. So,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, man. What? So you keep the neos on that type of substrate, the little puppy pads, or
No,
hospital?
I use paper towels.
Oh, just paper towels.
Yeah, but they're sopping wet. I don't mist anything.
Mm-hmm.
I just keep the babies super wet, and then I'll have to change their.
Do you miss them directly?
No, just whenever it looks like they need a new paper towel, I'll just get a new tub and put a paper towel in there, and then I'll dump a few ounces of water in there. So I never missed the snakes. I don't even really own a functioning spray bottle for that, just for disinfect. I just dump water, and then once they're in the bigger tubs, I use unprinted newspaper. And then the adults are the ones I use the incontinence pads with.
Yeah, that's what Bill do. He just dump water in the enclosures or whatever. I'm like, is that okay? Like, is that cool?
Yeah. I don't.
When I went over to his crib, I think it was last year, a year before last. Bill lived maybe about 3.5 hours away from me, so I go over there probably like once every 4 months, 3, 4
Mhm.
months, whenever I'm in the area. And then, my first time over there, he was like, "Yeah, I got this one right here." When when their puppy pad dry something, I just get this jug of water, I just splash it in. I'm like,
Mm.
because I never seen it done that way or
Mhm.
what. I didn't know that you can put, all that water down on the puppy pad like that and it stay good for, a few days, a day or two.
Yeah, I actually don't do that with my adults. I keep my adults dry, but yeah, my cages have very little ventilation,
Mm-hmm.
and then I put generally two pretty big water bowls in each one. I get these deli containers that I think they're like 9 inches long and 6 inches wide. So they have a lot of surface area. So I put 2 of those in there. It's nice and humid without being super wet.
Nice. Okay, okay. You want to talk about your new room?
Sure. Yeah, I'm moving in a few months. So I'm actually gonna have 3 rooms. I'm not entirely sure how I'm gonna use each one. Because I keep some other stuff too. I have some scrubs and bolins and Madagascar tree boas. So I think they might go in one room, and then I'll put my breeding chondros in one room, and then the last will be babies and things I'm raising up, something like that. I have a little bit of time to decide. Pretty stoked. I'm going to have 2 dishwashers, not 1, but 2. So that'll be nice for disinfecting perches and
Bowls.
songs. Yeah.
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 Do you keep a separate tong for feeding, or do you just after you feed you wipe it off with a wipe?
I don't have assigned tongs for each snake, but when I feed, I use a different tong. I do have a dishwasher in my basement right now. So I'll just disinfect them.
Gotcha.
For that.
Okay.
I do that for babies too. I have, 50 or so baby tongs. I use one for each baby, even though I know that's probably overkill.
No, nothing could be overkill because
Yeah.
when you go in, walk in that room and one morning you be like, see one hanging off the perch, you be like, man, what the hell?
Yeah.
You want to mitigate all issues as possible.
Yeah, I'm pretty uptight. As soon as you relax, that's when you're gonna get fucked. So
yeah,
you got to stay on top of things.
And what's like so do you feed the neos like every 5-6 days, or what's your feeding day for them?
Yeah, roughly every 5 days. What I started doing for my babies and yearlings is I have a spreadsheet with their ID numbers. And then after I feed them, I'll put the date that I fed them next to their name. And then when I go down there and I clean their tubs, I have a yellow sticky pad and I'll write down the ones that shit. And then I'll go back to my spreadsheet and I'll delete that date that they were last fed. And then I know that they've shit since I fed them, and then I can feed them. So that's how I manage that. So I don't have permanent records for my babies and yearlings. I just use that spreadsheet where I add dates and then delete them.
Nice. And then Michael was talking about how's I don't know what the fuck that is.
Blue cocky?
Yeah, what is that?
So you know that high yellow-ish snake you posted early on? Crazy snowflake. It's yellow and blue and black.
This? Oh no.
It was that one. So I bred this female to a blue male from Rico. And, one of their daughters, I kept a male that kind of looks like this female, not as nice, a lot less blue. And then I kept a female that I named Blue Cocky, and she is mostly black, and then she has a decent amount of blue, and her dorsal diamonds are green. But
sheesh,
yeah, she's looking good. She's almost 6 years old, and she's one of the blackest females around.
I feel like the older chondros are like the best looking chondros.
Yeah, well, a lot of them females are hormonal, so they'll get bluer, and then males will get bluer with age too.
Yeah. I'm talking about like the ones that's back in early 2000s.
Oh, the early
1900s, like that's what I feel like.
There's been a lot of crazy chondros that died without ever producing anything, and we're making a lot of crazy shit now, but it's not necessarily any better than what they had back then. It's just different.
Yeah, because this thing right here is heat. Look at that. That's crazy right there.
Yeah.
So that's that's what I'm kind of aiming for. Blue, blue wash or blue with a little black speckles.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much what I'm aiming for. Then hey man, you can't beat this.
Yeah,
Right here is
she has more changing to do. She is a full 3 years old though. She hatched
that's
in.
it.
Yeah.
Sheesh. If you look at this picture, it looked like 5.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
see.
She'll probably lose some of that orange, but she has those whitish scales that are poking through. Those are pretty cool.
So yeah, man. So yeah, so we coming to the end of the interview. I like do it like hour 15 minutes, so
Sure.
everybody not sitting down too long.
Mm-hmm.
Just a quick little stop by, come, good
Yeah.
little chat.
Yeah. No
Ain't
problem.
trying to do no 2.5 hour Christmas special.
Yeah. No 5-hour marathon.
No, no, I gotta get up at 5. So
Yeah. Gotcha.
but yeah, so tell them where we can reach you at.
Oh, yeah. Check out my website. It's vibrantviridis.com.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of modeled my website after Rico's Signal Herpetoculture website. I liked his website because he had pictures of babies, and then below that he had pictures of the snakes he held back and how they changed. Well, I hold back all my snakes. I don't necessarily put all the clutches or all the pictures on my website, but it's a good resource for looking at babies and then looking at how they age. Just check that out. And then my Instagram is vibrant_viridis. And I have some of my snakes that I produced there.
Nice. Like, we here at the Herp Collector Network, we don't take your presence lightly. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for taking this time out, this hour and a half throughout your day, because you could be anywhere in the world, but you're right here with us, man.
Yeah, if I wasn't here, I'd probably be messing around with the snakes. So it's no my pleasure.
Understood. Hopefully we'll be able to do this at the end of the year, towards the end of the year.
Sure.
Again, and maybe in your new reptile room.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
You can pull out some neos or something that you produced from last year or whatever you want to pull out, man.
Sure. That sounds good.
Nice. I'm gonna put you backstage and say bye to the people.
All right,
then I'll come right back. Yeah. Thank y'all for tuning in. Episode 21 of the Chondro Corner. My name is Ro, half of the Chondro Corner here on the Herp Collector Network. Thank y'all for coming through, man. Hey, I don't know if y'all sent some super chats or Zelle, Cash App or whatever, the Keys family, but thank y'all to whoever did. Like I said, all donations going to the Keys family tonight. Thank y'all. If there's anything that we can do differently on the episode, just hit me up and hey man, we'll work it out. If y'all want, because we did shorten the intro, but I made a mistake. I played the wrong intro today. So next week we will play the right intro. That was one of the complaints. Another one is we're gonna change the intro song. So thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for taking y'all time to come out with us tonight. And I'll see y'all later, man. See y'all later. Outro.
Chondro Corner where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind.
From the shadows we move, striking out bright. In every twist we find the light. Breeding the best, gotta have patience in this game. Chondro Corner where we make our name. Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner. Chondro Corner where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow.